Hey guys, and welcome to Smells Like Teen Angst. I'm Sarah. Today we're gonna do a video that's a little different for us because I was nominated by Sean over at Lost in the Reel to do a top 10 OMG moments that fits under our Smells Like Teen Angst banner, brand, whatever you wanna call it.
I accept that challenge.
So I am not one to back down from a challenge, and I'm going to bring you a video of our top 10 OMG moments across YA television and film. At the very end, I will be nominating a couple other channels. So if you want to just skip ahead and see if it's you, I'll have that in the description below. I'll also, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, put that in the description as well. So, Sean, you asked for it, you got it. Number 10. Hannah Montana was a huge show on the Disney Channel that set Miley Cyrus off into the fame stratosphere. It told the story of a girl who was living a double life, one as a superstar Hannah Montana and one as a small town girl named Miley. After many almost reveals and dragging her friends into her chaos and her superstar world, Miley was finally ready to let the entire world know who she was. And at a concert, she snatched off her wig, finally accepting who she is and who she wants to be. So thank you, Miley, for giving us the best of both worlds. Number 9. Next on our OMG list comes from Sabrina, not the Teenage Witch, but the chilling adventures of Sabrina, the darker version. The entire first season, Sabrina is fighting against her family, fighting against her legacy, and what everyone is telling her she has to do, which is sign the Book of the Beast. If she is to sign this book, she would have to give up her mortal life and fully embrace who she is as a witch. And that's not what she wanted. However, after building her up as a strong female character, she gets manipulated and has enough peer pressure that she finally actually decides to sign the book. What? Why, Sabrina? Why? I mean, things happen after, so it's all null and void. But in that moment, my jaw dropped. Number 8. Now this one comes to us from a acclaimed teen movie, Jawbreaker. Jawbreaker is a movie from 1999 that stars Rosa McGowan, and it tells the story of 3 girls who kidnap their prom queen Liz, and the kidnapping prank goes horribly wrong.
You gagged her with a jawbreaker?
After shoving her in the trunk and shoving the jawbreaker in her mouth, they open the trunk to discover she has choked on the jawbreaker. That is OMG moment number 1 from this, because I was like, whoa. But the kicker, the OMG moment of this film is at the very end. We are at prom and Courtney is winning prom queen. But no, over the loudspeaker comes her voice when talking to her friends after finding out that Liz is dead, saying,
I killed Liz. I killed the Teen Dreams. Deal with it.
I killed Liz. I killed the teen dream. Deal with it. Y'all, when I watched this movie, I was like, what? It was a good moment. It's an OMG drop. Let's keep going. Number 7 on our OMG list. Next, we have Pretty Little Liars. Pretty Little Liars tells a story about a group of friends whose alpha goes missing. But don't worry, for seasons, she haunts them from the grave. Multiple times, as multiple people, until she reappears. But that doesn't mean that the haunting stops. A continues on their rampage. I know, there were so many A reveals. Was it Ezra? Was it Mona? No, it's Charlotte. Actually, it's Charles. No. OMG, we're gonna create an entirely new character that we have never met or ever seen with Alex Drake, who just happens to be Spencer's twin. When I tell you Pretty Little Liars sends me on twists and turns and what the deuce, no matter what, it hits an OMG for me, whether it's out of frustration or actual shock. All we know and care about is that A just kept coming with the hits. Next, we've got number 6, This one comes to us from the OG WB series, One Tree Hill. Now, One Tree Hill starred Chad Michael Murray and Hilary Burton and Sophia Bush, and it told the story of two brothers who both played basketball, who had the same dad but different moms, and did not get along. However, throughout the series, they become family and like brothers. But this OMG moment doesn't come from either Nathan or Lucas. Nay, it comes from Keith and Dan. Dan is the daddy of both the boys. Keith is the brother who was in love with Lucas's mom. And in the hallway of the high school, out of spite, out of jealousy, out of rage, out of taking his family, Dan murders his own brother. Y'all, I need a minute. That was a good one. Number 5. Love it or hate it, Gossip Girl, which is getting a reboot, was a huge show on television. It shot into stardom Chase Crawford, Blake Lively, and let's not forget the ultimate lonely boy, Dan Humphries, played by Penn Badgley, who you can now see as a creeper on You. Gossip Girl told the story of some Upper East Siders, super rich kids that went to private schools, and the drama of the socialite status. When you read a bunch of interviews from the creators, they didn't know who they actually wanted to be Gossip Girl. And in the end, they landed on Dan.
I'm in awe.
I hacked it and stole it from him. That makes me way more awesome.
You stole it after I shut it down, and when you started it back up, I just stole it again.
Now this reveal, love it or hate it, was an OMG moment. I was not expecting Dan Humphrey, but fun fact, and kind of cool if it's true that they didn't know who they wanted Gossip Girl to be, the answer is given to you in the pilot episode. Watch.
And who am I? That's one secret I'll never tell. The only one. XOXO. Gossip.
Number 4, one of my all-time favorite shows also comes with problematic writers and creators. The Buffy the Vampire series tells the story of Buffy Summers, who is a popular teenage bubbly girl who happens to be the chosen one and is in charge of learning about and murdering vampires and supernatural creatures. As superficial as that sounds, I promise you this series has so much more depth than that. However, my OMG moment from this series doesn't come from when Buffy had to murder Angel. This moment doesn't come from when Angelus murdered Giles, his girlfriend. This OMG moment for me is the death of Buffy's mother. There are plenty of moments in this series that you didn't see coming, but this probably was the biggest one for me. And this was a moment in Buffy's life that was a huge turning point. This was a huge turning point for the show and her character, and as well as a viewer. Now on to something a little happier? Number 3 on this list. All right, now this one comes from one of my favorite shows of all time, The Vampire Diaries. If you are not a Vampire Diaries watcher, I don't know what to tell you. You are missing out. Go on Netflix and watch it right now. If you read the books and you're like, the books are trash, you are correct. But the show doesn't even follow the books, so you're welcome. The Vampire Diaries takes place in a small town in Virginia and tells the story of a girl named Elena and the love of these two vampire brothers, Stefan and Damon Salvatore. You've got the goody two-shoes brother and you've got the bad boy. Through many twists and turns, Stefan always comes to the rescue and Damon has no qualms with being a dick. And in order to continue to prove that he has no feelings, this OMG moment comes from his hands when he shows up at Elena's house and snaps the neck of her brother Jeremy in front of her face. This moment alone is why I do not believe Elena and Damon should have ever been together. How do you date? How do you fall in love with the man who murdered your brother? Granted, he was wearing a daylight ring, so he didn't die, but Damon didn't know that. Snapped the neck of your brother in front of your face. If that's not OMG, I don't know what is. Number 2 comes from my favorite horror movie of all time. and that is Scream. I am a huge horror fan. Like, Freddy is my all-time favorite villain, but Scream is my all-time favorite movie. Scream tells the story of a small town where murders are happening. A young teenage girl named Sydney's mother was murdered by a man named Cotton Weary, which some believe is actually innocent. A year later, murder sprees are happening again, and this time targeting teenage kids. One of which is Drew Barrymore in the biggest PR twist in history. She was all over everything and literally only in the movie for 5 minutes. I digress. It is a ghost-faced masked man in a costume who is gutting people like a fish. They are calling and asking you, what's your favorite scary movie? And Neve Campbell helms this film. At the time, the biggest thing she had done was Party of Five. We're introduced to Matthew Lillard, whom I love, and Skeet Ulrich, who I also love. Rose McGowan is also in this film. Throughout the film, you're trying to figure out who did it. Who's the bad guy? Is it the crazy dude who works at the movies that's obsessed with horror? Is it Cotton Weary broken out of jail? No, he's still there. Is it Dewey, the doofy police officer? No. In the end, we learn who the killers are. There are two.
Surprise, Sydney. What's the matter, Sydney? You look like you've seen a ghost.
It is both Billy and Stu. Billy, Neve Campbell's boyfriend, and Stu, his doofy best friend. Y'all, when I say watching this film in the theater, my jaw dropped. It was one of the best OMG moments in teen cinema history, only to be outdone by our number one choice. My number one OMG young adult teen angst moment comes from the Twilight series. Come on now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you are in the theater watching Breaking Dawn 2 at midnight, just like I was, we get to the moment where the Cullens are confronting the Volturi. Alice walks up, gives her hand to Aro, and some shit goes down. We see Carlisle get beheaded. We see wolves die. Jasper dies. So many of our favorite people are dying. And in the end, Aro gets beheaded and his head gets caught on fire. Let me tell you, I know exactly what's going to happen in this fight scene. And even when I rewatch it now, I am still on the edge of my seat, so upset when I see my favorite characters die, only to have it be a vision. Even Stephanie Meyer said she wishes that she came up with that ending because it is spectacular. That moment, hearing everyone in the theater screaming and crying at Carlisle's beheaded face. Can you see how, I'm amped just talking about it? And that is why that moment from Twilight is my number one OMG moment in teen angst film and television of all time. You're welcome. Okay, so that is my top 10 OMG moments in teen angst cinema television history. What's your list? Did some of mine make it onto yours? Do you have some other moments? Make sure you comment below, let me know. And shout out to Sean at Lost in the Reel for nominating me to do this video. And now, here are some of my nominations of channels that you should check out, as well as who should do one of these OMG top 10 videos that fit your genre. Up first, I've got Movie Melee. Now these guys are super fun. One of their series is Drink to a Decade, where they talk about a decade's worth of film and television and how it holds up till now. They also have Movies in a Nutshell, which are super fun. They're really fast, quick reviews so that you can watch them and get on with your day, as you will hear Art say. Next on my list is That Hashtag Show. These guys I have worked with for a really long time. If you don't know who they are fantastic. They bring you all the good things trending in geek pop culture, whether it's wrestling, to exclusives, to Power Rangers, and even an amazing queer podcast called Have You Tried Not Being a Podcast? Make sure to check them out. And last but not least, make sure you check out Man of Movies. It is run by a fellow Floridian named Jonathan. I think his channel is super fun. I love his energy, and him and I tend to agree on a lot of things. So that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I'm Sarah, and make sure you're subscribed to our channel. Thumbs up this video, comment what your top 10 OMG list would be, and ring that bell so you don't miss out on any more angsty videos. Until next time.